Hi, this is Jo from the Secret Recordings Network. Before you listen to the new episode of the most magical podcast on earth, let me tell you that on the podcast I secretly recorded my boyfriend. He's often caught talking Walt Disney World.
And this fast pass malarkey. You don't need all this planning. You need holiday after the planning.
Okay, so...
I wouldn't go there.
We're going.
I know, but I'm saying I would be useless if you wasn't planning.
Well, guess what, darling?
You've planned.
You don't need to be useless anymore because now you've got a podcast that tells you how to do it all.
Yeah, exactly. That's how complicated it is to get my ride.
Search I Secretly Recorded My Boyfriend wherever you get your podcasts.
My name is Andy, and this is the most magical podcast on earth. When I'm not on holiday at Walt Disney World, I'm planning a holiday to Disney. And when I'm not planning a holiday to Disney, I'm talking about Disney, with other UK fans like me who make the trip to Orlando and the House of the Mouse. So if you too are crazy for Daisy, then this is the podcast for you. Or maybe you're the Disney novice, maybe thinking about or currently changing your first ever trip to Walt Disney World and your knowledge of celebration finishes with Kool and the Gang. Well, then this really is the podcast for you. Every week, I'll be chatting to other Disney superfans from around the UK to share their memories and their magical times. And this week, we found out about a rather strange PhotoPass experience from Hayley.
Later on, we checked on the My Disney Experience app at the photos, and it was just a close-up of the ice cream.
More of Hayley's stories on this week's podcast, also answering some more of your Walt Disney World questions, getting the latest news from the parks, finding out everything else that's going on, all the essential information you need to know to have the most magical time. So make sure you keep in touch. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, we are at PodMagical. This is the most magical podcast on earth as part of the Secret Recordings Network. We'll get some Disney news for you very soon, answering some more of your Walt Disney World planning questions. A message from Rog, who says, Andy, I keep hearing about a Disney Visa credit card where you can get benefits and money off when you go to Walt Disney World. Is it available in the UK? How do I go about getting one? Yeah, I've seen about this. If you go to Walt Disney World, actually, you'll see this advertised here, there and everywhere. I think it's a Disney Rewards credit card with Visa. Unfortunately, it's run by Chase Bank in America, and we can't get it in the UK. You have to live in America and maybe Canada as well to qualify that. But yeah, I have seen that, Rog, and unfortunately, we can't get it in the UK. Amy wants to know, we are considering looking at Swan and Dolphin next year for our next Walt Disney World holiday. I know it's not like an official Disney hotel, but have you still got the transportation that you get if you're staying on another Disney hotel? Yes, you can. Obviously, that's on the lake round by the boardwalk, the Swan and Dolphin. So you can actually walk to Epcot from the Swan and Dolphin and Hollywood Studios, actually pretty much smack bang in the middle. But then they've got the little boats that will take you to both of those theme parks as well. And the buses run to the Swan and Dolphin. And, you know, if there's not, then just walk over to the Yacht and Beach Club and use their buses as well. But yeah, in terms of transportation from the Swan and Dolphin, yes, you can get to all the parks like you would a normal Disney resort hotel. Any questions for the podcast? Just get in touch. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Give us a like, give us a follow. DM me if you've got any questions. I'll do my best to answer them every Friday on the podcast. And of course, same place to go if you want to be a podcast guest like this week's guest. And it's Hayley who's on this week chatting Walt Disney World. And, well, I'm going to ask you, what is it you love about Walt Disney World, Hayley?
So I think everyone says this, but just about how magical it is. And also, whilst you're there, nothing else matters apart from if you're going to miss your fast pass or a show starting. It's the only thing you're focused on.
It's focused on getting through, sticking to that itinerary and making it right, making it perfect.
Exactly.
So it's only the one time that you've been to Florida, isn't it? Just to Walt Disney World.
Yes, we went in October 2017, and that was for our honeymoon. I've been 4 times to Disneyland Paris, and a couple times with my husband.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what do you prefer? Do you prefer Paris or Florida?
Definitely Florida. Even though we've only been the once. I mean, Disneyland Paris is charming and lovely and beautiful, but there's just something about Florida that just takes it for me.
And why did you decide to go there for your honeymoon?
Well, I've always wanted to go to Disney World, and we were saving anyway because we did want to go on a trip. And it was just like, oh, well, it's perfect. We've got an excuse. We need somewhere to go for our honeymoon, and we wanted to go to Disney World. So, and my husband was well up for it, luckily. Good
job,
take
really.
Much convincing, yeah.
And was it everything you dreamed of? Was it everything you imagined?
Oh yeah, probably even more, to be honest. It was just so lovely, and just as I say, having no worries other than focusing on what you were doing there and then. It's just so magical, and like seeing the castle and everything.
So what was your favourite memory of that trip?
So it was probably the first morning, because we went to Magic Kingdom, as I think everyone does, and just seeing the castle. And we had a breakfast reservation at Be Our Guest, like one of the first ones. So we were like one of the first people into the park that day. And as we were going in to Be Our Guest, like the cast members were clapping us in.
They do that. If you're the very, very first people, they open the door, don't they?
Yeah.
It's quite a moment.
It was, I think that's when it kind of hit me that, wait, we're actually here now. So it was just, and that's definitely the one and only time I've been clapped going into a restaurant.
Yeah, definitely. And they do something. And if anybody listens knows what this is, I did this once before, and then we were the second people in, but they were looking for the first family of the day.
Oh.
Were you the very, very first people in, or were there a couple of people before you?
I think we were kind of like maybe the fourth or fifth, like going in a row kind of thing. They did
something. They were looking for the first family of the day who'd gone in before us, because we were second one. And I was like, why are they looking for them? What did they get? Oh. Did they get something? I've never found out. I've Googled it and I've asked people. Nobody knows, because they've never been the first family of the day and Be Our Guest.
No.
So if you haven't, you're listening, let us know. So were you on the dining plan at that point then?
We're on the quick service dining plan. We didn't actually book any reservations because you had to link your credit card, and we weren't sure exactly how that was going to work and if we were going to be able to do it. So when we were checking in, a lovely guy had a look and to see if there were any reservations free, and he was like, oh, you've got to go to Be Our Guest. And luckily there was a reservation like for the next morning, so it was perfect. He booked us in and it was great.
Quite often, if you're looking for that last minute reservation 24 hours before, because that's when people cancel, so that's quite often how you get in there. Was that your favourite place to eat then, out of all the places, out of the quick services you went?
No, to be honest, it has to be Blaze Pizza.
Oh, at Disney Springs.
Yeah, definitely. We ended up going 3 times over the trip.
Yeah, use them credits. Oh,
it was just
goodness,
so tasty.
We're all missing the dining plan. You've made it even worse now.
And so my husband was always the one to go and pick up the pizzas, like when your buzzer goes off and they're asking if you want any drizzles on top. And we both always got pesto. And by the 3rd time, the guy was like, hey, you're the pesto guy. As he's giving my husband the pizzas.
So where did you stay on that trip then?
We stayed at Port Orleans French Quarter, which I know is very popular. With you and some of the podcast guests.
Yeah, and perfect for Disney Springs on the little boat.
Yeah, exactly. That was lovely, going over on the boat in the evenings and stuff in particular. And my husband always trying to spot an alligator, which he didn't do.
No.
I think I'm quite happy with. But it was, French Quarter was just so nice because it was so small, and you only had the one bus stop, and had a nice little pool there with the slides. So it was just, it was lovely.
And getting to the parks from there, was that all right for you?
Yeah, it was fine. We only used the buses because that was the only option. We didn't, at that time, I don't think they even had the minivans or anything. We didn't need to use an Uber or a Lyft or anything like that. The one place actually where we did get an Uber was to Typhoon Lagoon in the end, because they'd just changed it. So you had to go to Disney Springs first and then get a bus over to Typhoon Lagoon, and we didn't realise. So we were stood at the bus stop for ages, and we were like, oh, let's just get an Uber now. So that was the one time, but otherwise the buses were, great.
More with Hayley in just a moment, including what happened to her PhotoPass experience at Animal Kingdom. First up, let's have a quick roundup of the latest news from Walt Disney World, which is still closed. A lot of the resorts are now open, especially the DVC resorts. The actual theme parks remain closed until the first pass holder preview, which is just a week away. July the 9th and 10th are the first 2 previews for pass holders, which sold out in 45 minutes when those went available. And of course, that's if if the theme parks do get to open on the 9th and 10th, the COVID cases in Florida at the moment are very, very high. So we're still looking at that. Meanwhile, here in the UK, we still can't go to America. You might have seen the reports early last week that TUI have pulled all their Florida holidays for the rest of the year. Meanwhile, Walt Disney World is currently home to the NBA. All the players and their families are there at the minute. The NBA season is going to start at the end of the month from Walt Disney World. They've pretty much taken over a whole chunk of the land, including most of Disney's Grand Floridian Resort, which has been all barricaded off for the players and their families this season, which is apparently costing them $150 million, by the way, to finish the season off behind closed doors. So you can't go to Disney and watch the basketball. That's not happening. But $1.5 million a day. The players won't be able to go into theme parks, but they are apparently going to get previews of a lot of Disney films and stuff like that. The season will resume right at the end of July. Other couple of little bits of good news. There's a brand new zebra that's been born at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. Phoenix, the mountain zebra foal, was born last month over at the resort and made her first appearance this week on the Sunset Savannah. Meanwhile, over at Disney Springs, Gideon's Bakehouse has announced it's going to be opening. Now, this is a local Orlando bakery. They've just got one resort open in Orlando, but they had been providing cookies to the Polite Pig at Disney Springs, and every day the cookies would arrive and people would be queuing hours to get these cookies. So the cookies went off the menu at Polite Pig, and then the day after they announced, Gideon's Bakehouse were actually going to open at Disney Springs. So there'll be loads of cookies and cakes and other baked items. Also, M&M's is going to be opening in November down at Disney Springs, and slightly sadder news that's come from Disney Springs, but we don't know how this is going to affect the brand new Cirque du Soleil show. The Cirque du Soleil company filed for bankruptcy earlier last week. In a statement released to Orlando Sentinel, they said that the all-new production for Disney's Drawn to Life could still debut at the end of this year. It was supposed to be open now, supposed to be open in April last year. If you want to keep an eye on anything else that's breaking from Walt Disney World, we'll keep you up to date with news stories over on our socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Podmagical is where we are. Same place to go if you would like to be a podcast guest like this week's guest, Hayley. So let's talk about your favourite park. Out of the 4 parks at Walt Disney World, do you have a particular favourite?
Probably Magic Kingdom, just for the whole fantasy thing and it being the one with the castle. But we both really enjoyed Animal Kingdom as well. Just the theming and the kind of vibe, like whilst you were there, like going through Africa and stuff and the people dancing. So yeah, probably Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom.
And what about attractions? Did you have a favourite attraction in any of the parks?
My favourite roller coaster, I would have to say Expedition Everest.
Yeah.
That is just, yeah, so much fun. And we actually got quite a funny photo in front of Expedition Everest because after we'd got off the ride, it was really, really hot. So we went and got a soft serve ice cream from the ice cream van nearby to it. And we noticed that there was a PhotoPass photographer taking photos with Expedition Everest in the background. So we went straight away and we still had the ice creams. So the lady was like, oh, just hold out your ice creams next to each other. And so they were like, our hands were touching with the ice creams and we both stood there smiling. And then later on, we checked on the My Disney Experience app at the photos, and it was just a close-up of the ice cream.
Oh, so you were like, were we even here?
No, it's just our arms, just the end of our arms.
That is it when you have the PhotoPass and they ask you to do really odd things. And you go, where are you going with this? And then when you look at it, you're going, yeah. I don't know what you were thinking there. So did you venture outside to maybe Universal or SeaWorld or anything like that? Or did you stay in Disney?
We actually didn't, because we were there for 10 nights and I knew that there was so much to do in Disney. So, yeah, for that trip, we did only stay in Disney. But definitely next time we would like to do Universal for sure.
Yeah.
But we didn't on that occasion.
You say next time. So when do you think you're going to go back?
So we are planning to go to all of the parks over the next, when everything is kind of back to normal, but we are planning to do it over the next few years. I'm doing a lot of overtime. But we're hoping to start with California next year. Yeah. So the plan is to go to Disney World in October 2022, which will be 5 years since we would have last been, and 10 years that me and my husband have been together. So that would be quite a nice little
that's nice
thing to celebrate. Yeah. So we'll be going that time with my dad and my sister and my husband's mum and dad and brother. So it'll be 7 of us in that trip. So it will be a lot different and a lot more to plan for.
Yeah, and 5 years is quite a nice time because there's going to be so many new things that you wouldn't have experienced last time.
Oh,
that
yeah.
are going to be new this time. And you say you're going to do the other parks. You mean you're going to do like Tokyo, Hong Kong and Shanghai?
Yes, yeah, we want to do all of them. And a cruise if I can convince my husband.
Yeah, you're going to have to do a lot of overtime. a lot of overtime.
Definitely.
Well, it's been lovely talking to you.
Thank you, and you.
And have a magical day.
Thank you too. Bye.
If you would like to join me 1 week on the podcast, don't forget we've got a brand new podcast every Friday. New guests, new memories, new stories every week. If you love talking about Walt Disney World, maybe you got a great story, or maybe there's something that you've done that hasn't been mentioned on the podcast before, or maybe you're going to be one of the first people who is in Walt Disney World when it actually reopens and when we can actually go. Get in touch. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Give us a like, give us a follow. And you want to be on the podcast, you've got something to share, just DM me and I'll get in touch with you. Every week on the podcast, I do a top tip of the week. And this week, I'm going to tell you the benefits of how you could stay at a moderate hotel, but still have the perks of staying at a deluxe resort. This is what you need to do. If you're staying at Caribbean Beach Resort, which is a moderate hotel, if you're thinking of booking in there, when it comes to finding out where your room is, because you can put in a room request, ask to stay at Aruba. Okay, if you've never been to Caribbean Beach, it's a massive resort and there's different parts of the resort. Each one's got a different name. They're all kind of like in different blocks. Aruba is the one that's pretty much next door to Disney's brand new Riviera Resort. So you can use their quick service or their restaurant at Topolino's Terrace. And also, they've got their own Skyliner station that goes to Epcot. So you can have all the perks, apart from having the fancy room and stuff like that, but you've got all the perks of staying at a DVC resort right there on your doorstep. So if you're staying at Caribbean Beach and you want those perks when it comes to requesting a room, ask to stay at Aruba. Have you got any good tips? Let me know. Also, next week we'll get back to doing some more Disney Plus recommendations. If you're watching Hamilton this weekend, the amazing Broadway musical, then how good is that? But if you've got any good top tips, anything you found on Disney Plus, or you want to be on a podcast, give me a shout. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pod Magical. We've got a brand new podcast every Friday. If you're new to the podcast and there's a long time between now and your next Walt Disney World holiday, fill in that time by just listening back and reliving other people's memories, just getting involved and getting engrossed in our Walt Disney World magical stories. Just listen back. We've got over 50 episodes to go back to. You want to be on the podcast for a chat? Give me a shout. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. If you could give us a 5-star review as well on Apple Podcasts particularly, that would be brilliant because it helps people find it. Thank you so much if you've done that already. And until next time, please stand clear of the doors.